And welcome. We're back with another episode of the Golden Ticket Show, and we are down to two. All jokes, everyone. Everyone had a busy week this week. Luckily, me and Steve could get on here to give you guys a quick breakdown of what to look for this week. Steve, man, we made it to the weekend, final regular season weekend of college basketball. It took me to the last week to get a good week going, but
you killing it, man.
We're here.
You're killing it. Knocking it out the park, man. I'm looking forward to it. Conference tournaments right around the corner. Have a potential ASUN tournament pick since that starts on Sunday. First tournament to kick off. So yeah, man, I'm excited and looking forward to it.
We love a low mid-major early start with the chaos it brings. Before we get into that, let's go ahead and we're gonna go through the games based on the Bart Torvik thrill quotient, the games that are gonna be the most interesting to watch, the biggest implications involved. The first one on this list is Auburn at Kentucky. We have at current moment Auburn favored by 4. I have it projected at 5. I have this one. I have the numbers kind of right on the money here. What are you kind of looking at for this game?
So, fun fact about this game: Auburn has not beaten Kentucky in Rupp Arena since like the 80s, which is nuts. I think I have this game projected at 5 points, and fortunately, it's like I see some 4.5s out there. I do see a 5, if a 5.5. So if you do like Kentucky to cover, but the way Auburn has been playing, I like them in this matchup. I mean, I know Rupp Arena is tough. They have not won there there's plenty of people who've been born since you've been alive, Gotham. Auburn has not won in Rupp Arena, but I think Auburn has a chance to cover this one, man.
Yeah,
get that win.
The big thing I'm looking at for this one, I'm not necessarily worried about Auburn, because I think even if they lose this game, I don't think it's going to affect their seeding when it comes to the national tournament. I think the only thing that's going to affect their seeding there depends on how they do in the actual conference tournament.
Right.
But this is a big game for Kentucky. Right now, they are currently tied for 7th with Ole Miss. Ole Miss plays Oklahoma, and they're playing in Mississippi. And they're an 8-point favorite. So I think, Kentucky needs a win here to stay tied with Ole Miss. I'm not sure if they have the tiebreaker on them. I'm about to double check that. Yeah, so Ole Miss has the tiebreaker, so they need an Ole Miss loss and they need a win to maintain their spot, or they're going to drop to the 7, which also actually I believe could hurt them because Mississippi State lost them. So an Ole Miss loss puts them at the 7. An Ole Miss win puts them at the 8, unless Vandy wins against Mizzou. So this is, I think, this is a stay away game for me, just because the line's kind of right on the money of what I'm expecting. If I think Auburn can pull this out, but I'm not gonna say this is gonna be more than a 2-score game.
Right.
I think this is gonna be a game where if Auburn takes the lead, Kentucky's just gonna try to push the pace and start chucking shots. So I would lean the over. I want to see how it moves in the morning, though.
Yeah, I'm curious of how to see the line move. I would not be surprised if the line actually goes down for people hopping on Kentucky. Cover that. Well, actually, it's gone up, right? Or unless the line move is opposite what we're seeing. It opened at 5.5, but let me double check that.
It opened at 5.5. It's been bouncing back and forth depending on the money. Right now, 72% of The bets are on Auburn to cover the spread. 80% of the money is on them to cover a 4.5.
You're saying the public is.
I think the public's money is the money is kind of sitting with
Auburn.
Sitting with the Tigers here on the road.
You know what though? In this spot, then I might fade the public. If I can get that 5.5, if I can get a bounce up, I think I'll hop on Kentucky 5.5. I haven't decided if I'm going to bet that yet. Maybe by the time I finish the second show tonight, I would have bet that. Get some liquor in me. I like the bets to fly off the shelf at that point. So I'm actually going to write down Kentucky 5.5 for myself. But yeah, it is a tough game to call. Auburn's nice. It's just I was looking at Kentucky's injury report. I don't see the guys who've been on their injury report. Looks like guys are healthy, so maybe that's another thing to consider when looking at this game.
Yeah. And then moving in to our next matchup here, we have a number 5 versus number 6 matchup here with Tennessee Bama is one I'm really interested in because this is the tale of two different teams, right? This is a slow-paced, gut it out, wait till the shot's available team, and then a 7-second offense in Alabama. I have it line sitting at 3.5. Over-unders is at 158. I actually have this under. I think Tennessee's going to have a little more command on this one. And given that Alabama is only one game ahead of Florida right now, I think they're going to be a little more defensively minded to kind of shut them down. So I think the under is it's not a great look because it's always hard to take an under when Alabama's involved.
Right. Well, they hit the under last week. Their last game. A lot of people it was like the highest total
when they played Kentucky. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like
but then they dropped 111 in their next game.
Yeah.
But on the road this season in conference play, they have only went under twice. They've had about 5. The total's at 158. They've only had one game go below 165 this year on the road. And that was South Carolina at the beginning of the season. Every other game, fun fact, besides South Carolina, no team has scored less than 80 points when they're hosting Bama. So they kind of push the pace and play no defense, which is why I'm kind of staying away from that. I might stay away from that.
Yeah.
But if I have a look, I would say, if my system's projecting it 5 points under, it's worth a look. But again, I think the top 4 is kind of set. Because I think Bama has the tiebreaker, right? Over Florida.
I believe so.
They beat Florida, right?
They beat Florida.
I don't think they played Florida. No, they didn't play Florida this year.
So they don't have the tiebreaker. Well, they have the record, the conference record over them. They're 12-3. Florida's 11-4.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So if Florida wins and Bama loses, it's going to go to the actual record, and Florida has a better record. So I think Alabama's going to be playing this one sharp. But the top 4 is kind of set, not fully set, but there's not going to be much movement in them. So you don't really know what you're going to see from these teams other than pride.
Yeah, well, Tennessee could move to 11-5, and if they, well, we got to look at Missouri too, because Missouri's tied with 10-5 as well, right behind Tennessee. So they're both tied with 10-5. Tennessee happens the better overall record.
Right. So yeah, if Tennessee wins and Florida loses, then Tennessee moves to the 3 seed.
Right.
And they'll get paired up with Oklahoma versus getting paired up with Texas.
Right.
Is what it's looking like. I can't remember if they do buys or anything in their tournament, but they'll have, if they move to the 3, they'll either have LSU, Oklahoma, or South Carolina in the first round. So I think Tennessee could be coming out motivated, but I think the SEC, like there's not much motivation from the team. There's not a big motivation spot from a lot of these teams that are going to be in the tournament. I think a lot of the teams that are kind of like on that bubble are going to be focusing on the conference tournament to try to make a run. Because the way I'm seeing it, like the move, like where the conference movement's going to come, it's not going to have that big of an effect outside of like Vanderbilt, Mississippi State.
Right.
Vandy's
trying to make a push for the NCAA tournament, so they're definitely in a spot where, and playing at home too on Missouri. I know we're skipping ahead on this one, but just kind of talking out the scenarios. But they need that win to kind of help them with their case to get into the NCAA tournament. A win over Missouri definitely will cement that for them.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we have that game's coming up actually in a couple on this list. So we're going to get to that one in a sec. But let's move over. You want to just do it by conference at this point?
That works. That works.
Yeah, it might be easier because we can go over all of them. So yeah, the next game on this list is Mizzou Vandy, sitting at a spread of 1.5. It's kind of sitting at a pick 'em, 159 for the total. Torvik has this Mizzou -2, and has this line about 4 points over. Vandy at home is an impossible place to play. We've seen that with Vandy winning. In conference play, they have only lost 2 games at home, including beating Kentucky, beating Texas, beating Tennessee, and beating Ole Miss in their last game, versus a Mizzou team that has kind of been back and forth. They've only won 3 road games, and it seemed to be like teams that it was statement wins. Florida, Mississippi State with 2 of them. I mean, this is to me, the numbers are saying Mizzou, but to me, this reads Vandy. What do you think?
They definitely can catch Missouri at home. Like I said, they're in a spot where they need to get these wins under their belt, help their resume out to get into the tournament, and also helps their seeding in the SEC tournament. So I like Vandy in this spot. I'm projecting this game as a 2-point game. So if you can get that Vandy 2.5, I would hop on that one.
Let me see if there's a line for that.
I see like 2.5 at like Bet Rivers right now. And Missouri also is not a great road team, so throw that factor in. They're an amazing home team, but they're not a great road team. So definitely everything lines up, in my opinion. I'm with you, man. It's Vandy.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find a line for it. I'm not seeing much.
I'm seeing 2.5 and 1.5s out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find. That's the thing. I'm using Be Better for mine. It's always a little like on or off when it actually decides if it like where to find like the spreads and stuff. Because some books won't put the alternate lines out, so they try not to read off those. What time's that game at?
6 o'clock.
Oh man, I gotta scroll to 6 o'clock. Fuck.
Well, yeah. Why you
like?
Go ahead.
I see Commodores 2.5 at Pinnacle. Yeah, I see it at 2.5 on Pinnacle right now. DraftKings has it -105. I'm not sure if that's an alternate line or not, but you can also get Vandy money line 126 right now on FanDuel, and it is about 7 points higher than any other book.
Vandy money line. You said FanDuel?
Yeah, on FanDuel currently right now, According to Be Better, there's a 126 right now. It's only showing it on 3 different books. So I think their system's just not fully, like, I don't want to say set up, but it's not putting it in. Let me.
Right.
Yeah, I just think they haven't fully put the lines in for tomorrow. I don't mind it. Especially I'm looking at money wise here. 30% of the bets are on Vandy to win. 70% of the money is on Vandy. So when it went to about 20, it went to as of the time we're reading this, it has dropped from 124 to 115 on some books. The money has come in so much that between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m., it kicked from plus 130 to plus 115. I think we might potentially see this drop to even odds by tip off tomorrow. So I might go ahead and place this one now if you can. I'm seeing plus. Yeah, and actually, FanDuel has a plus 110 now. I'm seeing plus 115 on MGM. So I mean, I'm locking that in if you're locking it in.
You talking locking in money line?
I might go ahead and just risk it, lock in money line. I mean, I don't. It's a hard place to play. Vandy has motivation. Mizzou doesn't really have, unless I'm missing something because I haven't followed the SEC that much this year.
Like I said, they're not a great home away team. So taking a home team against them is not a bad deal. And also,
one of the hardest gyms to play in basketball.
Exactly. That's their stupid ass elevated court I complain about every week.
I think their spot at the 5 is kind of secure. I don't see A&M getting past Florida, but we can talk about that when we get to it. So I think this Vandy needs a win to go 8-8 in conference, and I think they'll actually jump Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. Actually, no. If Kentucky loses, then Vandy could potentially move all the way up to 7 or 6 because they also beat Ole Miss. So this game has huge implications for Vandy. So I'm liking this one even more now. God damn it. I'm doing the Dawn. I'm talking myself into stuff I shouldn't be taking right now.
we need where the hell is he at?
Yeah, I know. He posted some baseball plays and went AWOL. I think the Mafia got him.
He's winning too much.
Said he had to take a break. Yeah, I'm getting 118 right now on I might not do a full unit. I think I'll do like 3/4 of a unit on that one.
I see 126 on FanDuel still.
Oh, I hate my books.
And I see
I hate my books.
I put plus 3.5. So if minus 120 for 3.5 for Vandy. I think I'm gonna make 3.5 an official play. I'm betting both though, but I'll take some of that. Let's bring a little bit of that money line too. I like that.
Gosh, yeah. And then moving on to the next game here. The most important game on the SEC slate, Georgia versus Texas.
Big game.
Not yet. We have not discussed LIU yet. I don't know. We had my one time betting LIU. I don't think we can look at it again.
They're playing fair dick this weekend.
You're asking me to bet against a team that has a penis slang in it? No. Come on.
They're on the road. I don't like. I usually it's hard. I gotta find them spots for LIU on the road, but I haven't.
Yeah, the NEC is really hard to play on the road because those are high school gyms.
Right.
Those are high school gyms with a graphics department. Like that's really all they are.
Right.
You know how weird it felt when we used to play those schools? Like we used to play Wagner a lot too.
Yeah.
And like, you see a gym that's got like 40 people in it, and then you look over and they have a TV that's doing every time a guy makes a shot, it's showing like a replay of it and a highlight. And I was like, I was like, are you doing this for the guy's mom? Like,
The,
like,
the
like, what
big
is
the
this
big
for? Like,
box TV used to get in elementary school when it was time to
yeah,
watch a movie.
I was like, bro, okay, we get it. You dunked on us. Please stop playing this. It's getting bad. Georgia, Texas. I have the line sitting at Texas -2. Is there anything worth even looking at this game? This is essentially neither team. This is just whoever wins this game will go up one spot because they're
So
tied right now at 5 and 10.
Texas has dropped 2 games back to back. They got embarrassed by South Carolina. Then they went and played Arkansas, lost in overtime to Arkansas. They fought back. Trey Johnson dropped a SEC freshman record 39 points in a game. Love that guy. One of the best freshmen in the country. Once again, I look at Rodney Terry. I'm just not too impressed with him as a coach. I have Texas projected by 7. I like Texas. Take out my bias. Georgia on the road. I'll lean Texas on this one. Am I betting it? I usually do not bet my teams unless unless it's Oklahoma or the other team I like to say FU to. But I'm taking Texas in this spot. We need the wins after dropping back to backs. I mean, we're like on the first 4 out now from being in the first, like kind of in the tournament, and now we're on the outside looking in. So we need to get some.
But a win over Georgia isn't going to do as much as like if it's a win in the first round. You know what I mean?
Right. We still need to get
Georgia. Then like you could argue like if they have to play like a Mizzou or an A&M, if they keep it close,
right.
then you're like, okay, like they're showing like some kind of validity. But yeah, I just think like, the way the tournament's been going, the way the SEC looks, like if they're not Vanderbilt or higher, I think their chances are kind of blown.
No, I agree with that. I mean, they're 5 and 10 in the conference, man. I'm not going to be mad if they don't make the tournament because you shouldn't make the tournament if you're 5 and 10 in the conference. Like I don't care how
that's the thing. There's going to be that team that like goes on a crazy run that playing a team that's already, they're going to catch Auburn where Auburn's already got their first 4 spot picked in. Like they're like, Auburn's not dropping past the 2 seed.
Right.
Anywhere. They're going to not play hard. Then boom, all of a sudden, you get like what NC State did last year. And it's like, okay, cool. They were average in the regular season or below average, and then they dominated when they needed to. So they'll make some kind of run. But no, I don't think Texas is in that spot. I think the SEC is just too talented. Let's switch over to another Texas team, A&M at Florida. Line's at 9. I have it at 8. I have
8:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that one, because that one's after Alabama, Tennessee. I think that one's going to kind of decide how hard Florida's going to play.
Yeah.
Because if Tennessee wins, actually no, I don't. I think it won't matter regardless. Because if Alabama wins, I'm right. If Alabama wins, then Florida is locked in at the 3, and if Tennessee wins, Florida has the chance to knock Bama down to the 4. I think that line's too close. Texas A&M is so iffy. They remind me of like a Walmart version of Houston, where shots are falling, they look great, but when they don't, you gotta like grind out a 50 to 55 win.
Right. Now, normally for Texas A&M, I like them as a dog. 9.5 points. I'm projecting.
It feels high.
It does, but I'm projecting Florida with a double-digit win, and once again, like you said, the scenario plays out. Now I have the chance to hop into that 3rd spot or knocking Bama down to what you said that potentially they're knocked down to the 4th spot.
Yeah, if Florida, if Bama loses and Florida wins, they'll have the worst record out of the 3, and Tennessee has the tiebreaker. Because Bama will move to 12-4, and they'll be the same with Florida. Yeah.
I'm gonna take. Damn. Because it does that scenario, like motivation wise. I'm gonna go ahead and take Texas A&M and the points in this spot. For now,
I think that's one of those, like, you take it once you see the result in Tennessee, and you see how the line moves with it.
Because looking at the standings, but let's say Missouri loses, right? They go 10-6. Texas A&M wins, they're 10-6. And last that they played this year, Texas A&M beat Missouri. So they would have a tiebreaker over them. And that would put Texas A&M in the 5th spot. Texas A&M kind of does have something to play for in this spot because and if everything else is working out the way we were discussing, that Vandy game, they're going to be taking down Missouri. So Missouri is going to end up being 10-6. Probably looking to it too much, but give me the points for Texas A&M. I'm not betting this one just because I'm just not sure about the motivation of Florida.
Yeah. I think that's really it. There's a couple more games that teams can't really move. So let's move over to some Big 12 action. The biggest game on the Big 12 slate right now for tomorrow is our boy Cheese's favorite team, Iowa State and Arizona. Houston has locked up the 1. Arizona, if Texas Tech wins and Texas Tech beats Kansas and Arizona loses, they're then tied for a second. I don't know who gets the tiebreaker off the top of my head, but I'm about to check that. Arizona's locked into the 2.
Okay.
Because they beat Texas Tech.
Wait, Arizona?
Yeah.
They split the series. They lost.
Yeah, they won home and home, so it would go what regular season record?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so Texas Tech, if Arizona loses, Texas Tech can technically get the 2 seed because they're 19-9 versus 21-7 right now.
Right.
For this game, I didn't really have a look that I really liked. The line's at 6. I have it Iowa State -2. So I think Iowa State, no matter what, they're going to be either the 4 or the 5. I mean, where are you sitting on this game? Like, I can't get a read on this one.
It's 9:00 game, right? So I have this game around at 5. Iowa State at 5.5. So kind of like on the number or lower than number because all I'm seeing are 6.5s out there. Looking at Arizona's motivation in this certain spot, they need the win. Iowa State is just, I don't know what's going on with them for the past couple weeks. Kind of dropping the game. Arizona's been finding ways to win some games. This is a tough game for me to call. Let me get Arizona's home record real quick. Or I'm sorry, Iowa State's home record. I think they're
50-50 against the spread right now.
It's tough. It's a tough place to play. Here's
I did.
I'm
I just
going
think there's
Iowa
too much on
State.
the line.
I'm gonna go Iowa State at home. I don't like it. I feel like the spread's too big. I wish we'll have to circle back for Nimsy because I feel like Nimsy would have maybe he would have a better
Yeah.
hold on to this game. But looking at it right now,
Little off
well,
topic, but you missed the Feature show. It was what, 2 weeks ago? Features baseball show.
yeah.
Yeah. So you can check that one out on the page. We did a full best future to look at for each team, NL and AL, on for Frequency Sake's YouTube page. Yeah, I think this. Let's wait for Nimsy on that one. Let's move on to the next one. Texas Tech, Kansas.
So
I want to feel like Kansas has kind of got themselves back, but I don't know if I want to trust them.
I still don't trust them.
Like this might be a stay away for me because Kansas is like
Seems
kind of hit a rhythm, but like at home they've kind of hit their rhythm after beat Iowa State by 17, 3 straight double-digit wins versus a team that got beat by Arizona, got beat by TCU. It seemed like Texas Tech beat the Cougars and then just kind of like treated that as like that's the feather in our cap, kind of, for the season.
So funny enough for this game, I'm projecting Texas Tech as 2-point winners. I know they're coming in as 4.5-point dogs, so I'm gonna go Texas Tech. I'm gonna go Texas Tech in this spot. Sprinkle some on a money line. We're gonna, because Kansas is not a question as far as getting into the tournament. It's hard to trust them. Texas Tech is sitting in a spot where if they win the game and Arizona ends up losing actually to Iowa State, they can move into that 2 seed. I believe, right? They don't have a tiebreaker loss to Arizona, right? So Texas Tech can move into that 2 spot in the Big 12 tournament. Yeah, give me Texas.
Yeah, because that's what we were talking about. Was if Arizona loses, Texas Tech wins, then Texas Tech moves to the 2. Arizona moves to the 3.
Right. So give me Texas Tech, man. And actually, I would look at the money line. I mean, I'm probably doing it's a square play on this one, but in picking Kansas is sharp. I don't know. I'm gonna have to drink some more. I'm gonna get some liquor courage in me, and that's when I fire off those bets.
Yeah,
I'm feeling good. That's when I go 8-2. Coincidentally, I go 8-2 back-to-back weekends, and I'm like almost hammered by the time we're done with all like 2 shows. And then last week, I go sober the whole Saturday, and I go 5-5.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was a little disappointed. I listened in last week. I didn't hear no slurring. I didn't hear no nothing. Like
I was, you know what? Like
it felt like you and Kevin were having like a business meeting. Like
so. I'm getting ready. Don't worry. Your boy's gonna be piped up.
I've been up since 4 a.m. so my plays are not the sharpest right now. Watch Vandy go out and lose by like 50.
But yeah, it's a tough game for me to call, but I like Texas Tech, man. Give me Texas Tech in the spot.
Yeah. And the only other game that has a major significance in the Big 12 tomorrow because of if Iowa State loses and BYU wins, BYU will move into the 4 spot. BYU is hosting West Virginia, favored by, I have them projected at 7. The line is at 9.5 right now.
10 o'clock.
The
10 o'clock game.
The big thing, the 10 o'clock game for an East Coast team. Is going to be it's already tough. I have this line at 137, leaning a little bit to the under. Mainly just the fact of, when
I'm
West
with
Virginia
you on that.
gets on the road, they play slow as shit.
I mean, they only play like 6 guys in rotation. So, I mean, I have 138. So you're right there with me. I see 139.5. I see 140s out there. So yeah, definitely that total is a good spot. As far as the pick for the game, I like BYU in a spot. I know the spread is kind of high, but you don't just walk into Provo and get a win. Easy win
that's
over.
That's a good teaser play. Like you could do Texas Tech and get it at like almost double digits. Or you get Texas Tech
Give it
if you did a teaser,
like a 5-point teaser.
Yeah, if you did a 4-point teaser, you could get it at 8.5, and you could get 5.5 for BYU. Like for me personally, I think I'm gonna see like what I can get on DraftKings with that, but I think that might be a good play. Teasers are always kind of but I feel like the way this weekend's going, if you could find a way to get Texas Tech at less than 10 and get by the way, that Old Dominion under was the play. They're not even at 100 yet. There's 8 minutes left.
How much?
8 minutes left. They're just at 103.
Yeah, definitely.
That was I pussied out.
Bro, you're on fire, man. Believe in yourself. You're on a hot streak. If you
tease you jinxed me because I started actually overthinking myself. You could get for minus 110. you can get Texas Tech at 8.5, BYU at minus 5.5.
I don't hate it.
What is this? I think I'm gonna run it. Texas Tech 8.5 on DraftKings. BYU minus 4.5 or minus 5.5. I think that's like I rarely try to tease plays anymore, just because teasers always too burnt. But I mean that's a good spot to do a teaser right there. Is taking a team that needs a big win on the road for less than double digits, and then taking a team that needs a big win against a slow paced team for 2-3. Think about this: how often BYU shoots from 3, and you're basically taking them to win by 2 threes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have the top 30 or top 15 3-point rate team. 50% of their shots are from 3. Versus, you're telling me you're not going to take a chance where it's just a 2 3-pointer game. I'll trust that. Right. But what? All right. So, what conference you want to do next?
So we're done with the Big 12. Let's hop into the Big 10, man.
Big 10. All right. There are 4 games tomorrow in the Big 10, so this one should be nice and easy. I love the Big 10 because they have the most confusing schedule out of every college basketball.
They're interesting. If we can find, there's games tomorrow because only 15 of their teams actually make their playoffs or their conference tournament. Sorry.
Their games are like spread out. Like right now, there's 4 games tomorrow, 2 games Sunday, and 1 game Monday. So let's look at these games today. Maryland, Penn State's the first one that triggered in the system here. I don't see any reason really, unless you're a degenerate, why you would bet this game. Maryland's sitting tied with UCLA right now. Penn State is sitting 5-13. I have Maryland minus 5 right now. Line's sitting at 4.5. So I think, and over underwise, I have it like about 2 points over, which I think is hard to trust in a Big Ten game. So I think this might be a stay away for me.
Yeah, so after that heartbreaking loss on Wednesday for Maryland, which killed me, I was actually at the George Mason game, and I was monitoring the game while I was in the stands, and I was like, "Oh, it's tied! Oh shit!" And then all of a sudden, I was like, "They just lost? What happened?" There was like no time left, and I saw the buzzer beater. That was amazing. Um, they're tied with UCLA right now. UCLA is playing right now against Purdue. They're actually losing at the moment, 40-37. So let's say UCLA ends up losing this game. Well, then Purdue would get a win. Purdue moves to 12-6, pushes Maryland down to the 5th spot, making UCLA 11-7, locking them in.
You have to. Well, if Purdue moves up, Wisconsin moves down one, and you got to hope Wisconsin beats Michigan State, who's currently tied for first right now with Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan's not. I mean, Michigan. Yeah, where is this at Michigan State too? No, Michigan's not losing on Sunday. They're not losing that game. Not at their crib.
And Illinois has Michigan at Michigan. So that's where you're sitting at. Is both these teams need a win. The one's playing the 3, the 2 is playing the 7 to decide who's winning the conference. And in reality, I mean, I think Illinois is, unless if the only way they drop down is if they lose and Oregon wins. Oregon has USC. So I think, Illinois is going to need a big win. So that's going to be a battle. I think Big Ten's going to be the most fun to watch this weekend out of all of them to me.
Right. There's a lot. There's a lot hanging in the balance. Even as far as the last, like that Minnesota, USC, Iowa spot. Iowa's playing Northwestern right now. Currently,
and they're all like there's 5 teams tied for the last spot.
Right. Northwestern's winning against Iowa 30-26 at the moment.
Yeah.
So let's say Maryland's got something to kind of play for. They want to stay in that top 4 spot. Penn State's cooked. They're 5-13 in conference. So they're out of the playoffs essentially, or I keep saying playoffs. They're out of the tournament essentially right now. Yeah, so give me Maryland. I have Maryland projected at 4.5 points, exactly on the number right now. But I'll take Maryland on the road. They need to bounce back after that heartbreaking loss to Michigan State. Michigan State overall, I rewatched the game. Michigan State was the better team, so I can't say Maryland was in it and literally got their heart broken. It was amazing that they fought back and tied the game up, but Michigan State was the better team overall.
Maryland's at 192 right now too for money line straight up. I might just take that and try to pair it with maybe Indiana. Like I'm looking like that's the next game we're gonna talk about, so that's a good segue to it. Indiana versus Washington. So here's the situation Indiana is in. If Oregon loses and they win, they'll be tied with Oregon and it goes to a tiebreaker. If they lose and Ohio State beats Nebraska, I believe, don't quote me on it because I haven't seen their full schedule yet to see if they had won the match. No, so they'll still have a spot over Ohio State. But if Nebraska wins that and they lose, Nebraska will actually hop up 2 spots. So Indiana is essentially fighting for their specific spot. They didn't play Oregon this year. and Oregon has the better record. So an Indiana win secures their spot. A loss puts them at the will of Nebraska, Ohio State. So I think, and they're playing Washington, who's 4-13. Washington has won 2 home games in conference this year. That's it. They've lost to Rutgers, Nebraska, UCLA, Purdue, and Illinois. And the only thing that worries me with this is, well, I guess not. Indiana's last road game is when they beat Michigan State. So they haven't been on the road in 2 weeks. Where are you kind of leaning on this one?
I mean, I Indiana going over the Washington. This game's what?
It's 6 p.m. tip off too, so it's not like a weird spot.
Yeah, so their internal clock's not going to be too off.
Mm-mm.
It should be a rock fight. What is this? I see a 2.5 out there.
I got 1.5. Yeah.
I see 2.5 on FanDuel, 1.5 on DraftKings. Give me Indiana. They're a better team. They seem like they're kind of getting up in certain spots for Mike Woodson, who's not going to be returning back as coach next year. So, yeah, give me the Hoosiers. I don't really I'm not betting on this game because I don't really like betting on Indiana, especially with the situation with the coach. That the Purdue Indiana game put a bad taste in my mouth, man. I was kind of Purdue's been dropping games, man. They're winning against UCLA though. Good old bounce back spot at home right now, but yeah, give me Indiana. No bet for me.
Sorry, I dropped a piece of candy on the ground. My dog was running for it.
As long as it's not chocolate, man.
No, it was a gobstopper. What y'all know about these? Yeah. I told you I'm old, man.
You're old. You're old, man. As long as you got a 2 in front of your number, bro. I don't want to hear
it. Man, you know how funny it is? Like everyone my age is like, yeah, I eat Sour Patch Kids. I'm like, yeah, I eat bottle caps, sweet tarts, like gobstoppers.
My man still eats what candy cigarettes.
I used to get when I worked at a dollar store. I used to get the the little grandma candies, the little watermelon, strawberry ones.
Yeah, man.
I used to get a whole bag of them and set them in my car.
Those joints are good, bro. Shout out my grandma, man. Rest in peace.
Shout out Granny. Yes, let's move over to the ACC. See how many more we can get through. Let's try to see how quick we can get through these. Well, I'll actually give an insight.
Let's fire off.
Yeah. So looking at the conference right now, Duke is set. Louisville is set at number 2. I'm worried about Louisville in general because I feel
Louisville is tied with Clemson, man.
Yeah, and so Louisville worries me just in general because I feel like they're another team where when it's all clicking, they're hard to beat. Yeah. But you really gotta hope they come to play every day. I feel like they're one of those teams that I don't think they're going to get upset in the tournament, but I think they're going to be the team that gets scared in the first round. That, they're down in the first half and it's like, oh shit, are we about to get upset? And they pull off like a 60-point second half. But the biggest game on this card, one is a team I'm actually shocked because I feel like I haven't heard much about them in the ACC, and they're actually 7th, and that's Stanford, going up against SMU. SMU
frauds.
Cannot go up.
Super frauds.
SMU cannot go up, but with a Wake Forest win over Notre Dame, they can drop out of the top 4. And with a Stanford win, I believe we need Don here to talk about his Tar Heels. With a Stanford win,
that takes him to 11 and 7.
Stanford win and a North Carolina win. SMU can drop all the way to 7th. No, 6th. So they could drop 2 spots if Wake wins, North Carolina wins, and they lose. North Carolina has Miami, and Wake has Notre Dame. I have this line sitting at 1.5. I have it right kind of where it's at.
Which one? The SMU game?
For SMU, but I have this on the over. I think this is going to be a game of 2 teams that are just going to try to outpace each other and tire the other one out.
That game's at 5 o'clock. All right. So analytic wise, they love SMU. Personally, I think SMU are a bunch of frauds. I like Stanford at home, especially with what you're saying with that scenario. I would love to see it happen. But I'm back in the trees, the fighting trees in this spot. As I like to say, Stanford fighting trees, man.
It's a mascot bet for me because if you have the chaotic mascot, I give you the advantage. Because what the fuck is that mascot? Like, it's a tree. They're the Cardinals, and it's a tree wearing boxer shorts. Like, what?
With fucking the googly eyes, man. It's perfect. I mean, I like the Pony Express. I love saying that, but I think SMU are frauds this year. It's just their record. It says one thing. It just had a soft record in the early part of the ACC in their season. But I'm backing Stanford in this spot, despite what the analytics say.
Yeah. This is just a stay away from me, if anything. Moving on to the next one, Florida State, Duke. Duke is projected to win by 24 with a spread of 22. Is this a trap game? Like, is this a game you could really look at? I'm seeing a 12% difference in the money compared to the public betting for Florida State. Duke cannot drop, or the only way they can drop is if they lose and Clemson wins, because Clemson beat them and Louisville, right?
No, they only lost to Kansas and Kentucky and Clemson. Those are only 3 losses.
That's what I'm saying. Louisville lost to Clemson too, right?
Normally, I would say watch out. Florida State can cover this 22, but fuck Florida State. After what they did to me against Clemson, it just totally just shit the bed in a spot where I was like, oh yeah. Everybody in their whole mob was on Florida State. We just watched them all just I'm not playing basketball today. You know, they were watching cartoons in the morning and just decided to eat some fucking Cheerios and take a day off. But I'm not putting any American dollars on Florida State to cover this spread. Look at this. Last 3 games with Duke, right? Duke we'll go back even further. We'll go back the last 5 games. Cal versus Duke. Duke wins 78-57. Duke against Stanford, 106-70. Duke against Virginia, 80-62. Duke against Illinois in a neutral site. That was a Madison Square Garden, I believe. 110-67. Against Miami, who's given up on playing basketball whatsoever. 97-60. What makes you think Florida State's going to show up? Because Florida State had the little bump when they realized their coach announced that he won't be coming back next year. This is the last season he's coaching. I just don't see it. But I'm not betting it because the spread is way too high, but I'm not putting money on Florida State.
Yeah, this is a stay. For me, the only thing I'm thinking is that there's no way Duke loses this in my mind. Like,
well, it is college basketball. You can't say no way. But I refuse to give Florida State my money.
If Florida State wins this, it's because Duke sat everyone, and then Cooper Flagg broke his leg like Kevin Ware. Like that's the only way
I don't
they
want to think
come out
about
of it.
that. I don't
That's
want to
the
think about
only
that.
way they come out of this with a win, in my opinion. My only thought is we could see a sneaky backdoor cover here.
Right.
Duke goes up 20. They
Pull their foot
push
off the
the pace.
gas.
They push
Yep.
the pace to start the second half. 10 minutes left, they're up 35, so they pull Flag and Proctor and like half their team. And then Florida State makes it like an 18-point game with a minute left. That's where I see it. I this is a no bet for me. So let's go through. We got two Clemson, Virginia. The only thing I want to know from you on this one is this a sneaky overplay? We don't see these from Virginia often. Hear me out. So I have their projection at 3 points under. Virginia has went over in 10 consecutive games this season. Matter of fact, I'm going to go back even further. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 of their last 15 games, 14 of their 16 conference games have went over.
So I have this game projected at 134. And at least say the line is 132.5.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, I'm seeing 99% of the money is on the over here.
Oh. All right.
It is getting hammered. But here's my only thing why I worry about this. It went from 95% to 9. Like the line is steadily increasing.
Yeah.
So I think, is this something you take now, and then if it hits 134, you stay? If you wait till it's 130, like the morning and it's 134, would you still stay away from it? Or
if I wake up tomorrow and I see 134, I probably would start looking at under. He said, everyone and their mom is hopping on this over. Is it time to take a UVA under now? UVA playing at home, and I've done a lot. I've been to a lot of UVA games. They're shooting a lot more, which is great because they're the most boring basketball team in the country. Just rock you to sleep. It just fits Charlottesville perfectly. Like just a bunch of old people coming to games, and they're just boring as shit. Respect to Tony Bennett though. So I'm not saying that not to knock Tony Bennett, but still boring ass basketball. Total wise, yeah, I see 134 in the morning. I probably start looking at that under. If I see 135, oh, absolutely under. Looking at UVA's last games, look at they hit the over and on 131.5, 139.5, 133.5, 128.5, 129.5. The last 5 games. So their totals have been low. Is Vegas going to adjust? This might be it. With Clemson against Notre Dame, they hit the over. Against SMU, they hit the over. Against FSU, they hit the under. UNC over. Totals. Let me look at something real quick. Clemson has a bad away totals record, 4-7 on the road. Yeah, if I see 135, I'm taking under.
So let's go to. I almost don't even want to touch this game because I just swore off these two teams. Pitt, Louisville. Spreads at 10. My system has Louisville minus 13. Pitt, I don't know if I want to trust that.
Game's at 6:00, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let me switch to my spreads. So I have Louisville favored by 8. I know this that the spread is I see a 10.5. I see 11.5s out there as well. Why? I mean, where's Pitt sitting in the ACC? Pitt is sitting
So Pitt,
7 and 10.
Florida State, and Virginia are all tied with each other right
Yeah.
now, and they're all playing top 3 teams. That's the thing. All 3 of these teams are like double-digit underdogs right now, and they're all playing the 3 teams that are fighting for the top spot.
Pittsburgh's got the better offensive team. Well, hold on. In conference, looking at in conference numbers. Yeah, Virginia is edging them out a little bit in conference as far as offense goes. Louisville has something to play for, man. So is it 10 points worthy of that? I don't think so.
I think
that spread is huge, man. Like 10.5 right now with like Pittsburgh is in a spot where they need to win so they can solidify their spot, move up in the rankings at least, because Virginia's sitting it with a hard Virginia's sitting with a hard game. They're sitting with a hard game, but they're on the road.
I think if this is, when you see those guys do like the 5-5-5 parlays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think these 3 teams, Clemson, Wake, Louisville, is a perfect like 5-5-5 parlay. When you look at it, I won't be able to do it to the morning, but right now Clemson's 6.5, Wake 7.5, Louisville 10. I'm more comfortable taking all 3 of those teams at 5 than I am taking them at what they're at right now.
You mean buying 5 points?
Yeah, buying down to -5.5 or -4.5 for each team.
Okay.
But yeah, all right. So I got one more game I really want to talk about here before we move over to, I think the last conference we're going to do here is the Big East. And then next week's show, we'll go over, we might try to do like a live stream early in the week so we can go over like the conference tournaments and stuff for you guys. Georgia Tech, NC State. NC State is not playing for anything here. The only difference is they'll either play Clemson if they win or they'll play like Louisville if they lose. Georgia Tech is in a weird spot where I think where their spread's at, I think I might lay it with them. Or this might be like I'll take their money line and I'll add it to Wake Forest. Because if Georgia Tech wins, they're secured in the 8th spot. If they lose, then they have to rely on neither of Florida State, Pittsburgh, Virginia, or Virginia Tech to win. So they're in a big, like, we could beat up on a really bad team right now spot. You know what I mean? I think they're a good lines at 3. I have it at -4. But I have it with a 70% chance of winning straight up. So I might 70% chance of winning at -170 is almost a given. Like a God-given must play.
For Georgia Tech?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Kevin Keatts in general as a coach. And NC State went on that run last year, and I felt horrible for NC State fans because his ass needs to go. What we're seeing right now with NC State is what I kind of expected how a Kevin Keatts coach team would kind of be. Lucky for them, DJ Burns and those guys they had on the team last year were great. Went on that amazing run, but I'm not a big Kevin Keatts fan. Give me Georgia Tech and Damian Stoudemire. I have it 3.9, so like let's say a 4 point win for Georgia Tech. And I see some 3.5s out there. So yeah, give me Georgia Tech in this spot, man.
I'm gonna leave you with this little parlay I accidentally created. You ready? And
I'm
this
ready.
fits. This qualifies for FanDuel and DraftKings and BetMGM's boosts.
Oh, let me make this right now. I'm gonna listen to you. Give it to me.
You're not gonna be able to play it till tomorrow because they're not gonna put their promos out.
Okay.
But we have Maryland money line, Georgia Tech money line, Wake Forest money line. BetMGM has it 200. FanDuel has it plus 205. DraftKings has it plus 197 right now.
So you said Maryland money line.
3 teams that definitely need a win to secure their spot.
Georgia
Maryland, Tech, Wake. And what's perfect about that, that's a 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock game. So you can watch each one of them one by one. It's a perfect lay.
I see why not.
We can run that tomorrow as our little collab project.
You think so? Either that or I'm down with the Texas Tech Baylor. I mean, BYU.
The teaser?
Yeah.
Yeah, I already put that one in. Yeah.
Anytime I can get behind the Fighting Mormons, lock me in.
Yeah, we can lock both of them in, post them. So let's we got about 20 minutes here. Let's run through this Big East slate. The Big East, I think we could both agree, has been the most convoluted, confusing, unpredictable conference this year.
What are you talking about, man? I love the Johnnies. The Johnnies in my squad.
I didn't say it wasn't fun.
Oh,
I didn't say it wasn't fun. I just said this has been the most complicated, confusing conference. Listen, when Slick Rick comes out and he's the only coach in the NCAA still wearing a suit and tie, I knew they had some kind of mafia guy fixing.
Bro, wait till he drops the cream suit. I love when he pulls out the cream suit in the tournament.
See, I'm praying so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a future on 3 of my favorite teams on the opposite side of the bracket from St. John's, because New York has a rule. You can bet college futures, but you can't bet them on New York State teams. Any team that is residing in New York, you cannot bet them. So if a New York State team college wins the college basketball tournament and you bet on the team they beat, you still get the winning because it counts as a void for the winner.
Oh, wow.
So, for example, if I bet Tennessee and it's St. John's versus Tennessee and St. John's wins, I still win my money.
Oh.
New York is really stupid about I can't bet St. John's.
I'm about to go visit New York when I make some bets for this tournament, if I can get this loophole here.
Oh man. Yeah, New York is
I'll take a push any day. Like, all right, well, they lost. Cool. Give me my money back. Thank you.
So first game we got is Creighton Xavier. I have Xavier -1 as my line right now.
4:30 game.
Yeah, 4:30. I have Xavier -1. Line's at 2.5. I'm leaning on the under. I have it about 1.5 under. The big thing is with a win, Creighton secures the second place in the conference tournament. It does not matter what happens in the Marquette game, which is later that night.
Xavier is favored, which is kind of wild to me, but I think Vegas is telling us something. I think Xavier wins this game. I have projected at 4 points for Xavier. On the road, ATS wise, Creighton is 8-2, so they're not bad on the road. Trying to keep with other teams. Xavier is 10-7 at home, and they're 11-5 as favorites. Get this, Creighton is 6-1 as underdogs. This just became difficult as shit to kind of read. What is Xavier's spot right now? Where are they sitting right now? 10-7.
Let me double check to make sure they don't have a tiebreaker with where I'm thinking they would be at.
Cause was this who's playing?
So if
Connecticut is
okay,
playing,
so if they win So they can't move up, but they could move down if Nova wins and they lose. No, actually, I'm lying. They can't move because if they win and UConn loses, they're tied, and UConn has the tiebreaker because they'll have the better record. If they lose, Nova can't catch them. Nova's a full game. Nova will be a full. They'll go to tiebreaker, and they're like 2 games ahead of Nova on the season. So they're pretty much locked into the 5 unless there's like a catastrophic meltdown. Creighton secures a spot. Xavier's spot is essentially secured. I bet you there's like a 5th level,
So if Creighton loses, there's a chance they drop to
if
third.
If Creighton loses and Marquette wins, they're tied. And
well, Georgetown just lost one of their players for the season, I believe. So Marquette most likely will win this game on Saturday.
The thing is, they'll go to like one of those weird tiebreakers because I'm lying. If Creighton loses, they will drop to the 3 if Marquette wins because Marquette will finish 22-7 and Creighton will be 20-9. So yeah, Creighton needs a win to secure.
Wait, hold on. But won't they be? They'll both be 13-5, right? At that spot,
right? And then their overall win-loss record.
Yeah, and they lost.
Marquette has a better record.
Yeah, because they both have a win and a loss against each other, home and away.
Yeah,
against Marquette.
So they need the win here. I don't think I'm going to take it. I've kind of stayed away from the Big East just because of like home field doesn't matter. Road records don't matter. It's how you go into that game. Like it's how you're feeling in that game.
It's a tough game, man. I'm probably not going to bet this one just because it's kind of difficult to call. Like I said, I have this as Xavier as a 4-point favorite. As much as I love using my projections. Projections always it's all analytical based. They don't take emotions and injuries into account. I kind of want to go Creighton for some reason.
If I'm leaning anywhere, I'm leaning Creighton. But yeah.
Probably most likely Creighton in this spot. I mean, I'm probably not going to bet. I'm probably stay away from this, but difficult to say, man. Because like Xavier wins, they go 11-7. If Connecticut is not going to lose.
They can't catch Connecticut because Connecticut has the tiebreaker over them.
Yeah, Connecticut's not.
Connecticut and Xavier are pretty much stuck where they're at. So it's mainly
give me Creighton. I mean, they can't catch the Johnnies.
Yeah. But I think, it definitely would help them going into conference tournament if, you say you won as a road dog, even if it's a 1-point underdog. Like winning on the road in this conference is hard.
Yeah.
We've seen it. We see like DePaul beating teams. Like it's Seton Hall's looked good every once in a while. Like
DePaul's only beat 2 of them.
Yeah, but still.
I really thought DePaul would get a little better. I thought at least like 4 wins, hopefully.
But, Marquette, same thing. I'm not betting it because my projections have them at -3. Mainly because Georgetown and conference and their whole season at home. Not joking here, 75% of their games this season have been 8 points or less. Have been, as an underdog, have been 8 points or less. And what you said with the injury, I think that's just a stay away. I think it's not worth taking Marquette on the spread. It's not worth taking their money line, even in a parlay. I think 360 is too high to take in a parlay for a Big East team.
Right. Listen, I hold on, Gotham. For all those Marquette fans that love to DM me after you guys win, if I don't pick you guys, fuck you guys. Fuck the Golden Eagles. It's personal. That's all I'm gonna say. Go ahead, Gotham. I have a gripe. It's funny when it comes to Marquette games because when I do pick them, and my buddy's wife, like one of my best friend's wife, went to Marquette, and he's always like, he always brings up her talking shit about me if they win and I didn't pick them, and I'm like, well, you didn't cover the spread. The rule is if you see double digits on Marquette, you fade Marquette. If they're double digit favorites, you fade them. All right. I love Shaka Smart. He was at Texas for a little bit. He just wasn't our guy.
He was my guy at VCU.
Yeah. Oh, bro, he was great at VCU. It was a great spot, but Texas, it wasn't a great fit because he likes the type of players he wants to get doesn't fit with Texas. So that's another.
Yeah.
That's another.
Another show. So going to the next one I have here, I think is probably going to be the most important one in terms of like anything with placement.
Yeah.
Is the Butler Nova game. Actually, I'm lying because what I was looking at is if Butler wins and Georgetown loses, their spots aren't going to change because Butler will finish the season 14-15.
Mm-hmm.
But in that game, I have Nova -6. Is that? I mean, I feel like laying 6 points with Nova. We talk about all of this about Kyle Neptune. I don't feel like that's worth a risk. What do you think?
Projection wise, I have Villanova as a 9-point favorite. I still don't like Cal Neptune. I have a coworker that he's from Philly, loves Villanova. Even he feels the same way about Cal Neptune. He's just not that. He's not that guy for Villanova. 6.5 points. Butler is sitting 6-11. Now remember, everyone in the Big East essentially makes their Big East tournament, so it's not like you have to fight your way in. And they're playing at home. I'll take Nova as much as I don't want to. I'll take Nova in this spot. Eric Dixon. Can Butler stop him? I don't know. I'm checking injury report just in case there's something I didn't miss.
Yeah, I got one in this conference. I'm actually really curious about while you're looking that up. I don't think St. John's covers tomorrow. They're not playing for anything. And I just looked it up. In games where they were favored by 20 or more, right? They're favored by 21 tomorrow. Games where they're favored by 20 or more.
They're favored by 20 and a half.
This is who they've played when they've been favored by 20, and this has been the scores. Quinnipiac won by 23. Wagner, they were favored by 26. They won by 21. Harvard, they only won by 13. Bryant, they were favored by 21. They won by 22. And then Delaware, favored by 25, won by 21. And then in conference, they have been favored by 14 or more just once or twice. They've been favored by double digits in conference 3 times.
Yeah.
The only time they've covered the spread was DePaul. Favored by 14 against Providence, they won by 2. Favored by 11 against Butler, they won by 8. So I like the Johnnies. but I think they are definitely a team that plays to the level of their competition.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but they're weak as shit when it comes to free throws. That's the part of the only part of the team that is the downside of the Johnnies right now. 24 and a half. I have them, oh, I'm sorry, 20 and a half. I have them projected at 24. I'm not gonna bet this game, but if you feel inclined, I would take Seton Hall just because St. John's is already got a part of
Seton
the
Hall's
Big
just playing
East.
for pride. St. John's doesn't care.
Exactly, and I think they still win this game. They're playing at home. Do they blow out Seton Hall? Maybe not. Seton Hall is sitting at, let me double check this. In conference, Seton Hall is damn near the bottom at 2-15 in conference. They're probably already checked out anyways. If I was gonna bet this game, I would probably bet Seton Hall just because St. John's is not gonna give a fuck about this game. These players aren't gonna care. They'll win by 10.
I think this could be a first half Seton Hall bet in my mind. Because in my mind, whenever I see games like this, like I think back to so little story time. When I was in college, we were in a conference it was mainly all technical colleges, right? And then it was just us, where we had an actual former Division I coach who was starting the program, knew how to recruit, knew how to bring in players, and all the schools in our conference, except for like one or two, just brought in people who were going for specific studies, like Albany Pharmacy, Culinary Institute, like aviation school, shit like that. So we would play these teams that if they had spreads for D3 games, I swear to God, we'd be favored by like 50 things. Like, bro, we played a school against 40-year-old cooks. Like, we would smoke people. The first half, I remember we played this one school. It was a biblical college, right? They only brought in, it was only preachers. It was only people going to school to be preachers and missionaries. They were
Holy Cross.
Dude, they were 1-13 on the year when we got to play in them. We're on the road. And if you had a spread, I swear we were projected to win like 100-40. Like, that's how bad they were compared to us. And the first half, they were up 7 because we just didn't give a fuck. Because we knew we were going to win the game. We knew as soon as coach it didn't matter. It wasn't affecting our seeding. It wasn't affecting our national ranking. It was actually hurting our national ranking just having to play them in conference.
Yeah.
And then coach lit a fire under us and we won by 30.
Yeah.
That's the kind of, and the fun fact, my coach at that school studied under Pitino. He studied under these guys at LIU Brooklyn. He coached at St. Francis Brooklyn.
Did you say LIU Brooklyn?
Mm-hmm. Yep. He coached at St. Francis, PA. He coached at Wagner. He's coached in that MEC. He's coached under like Pitino. He's worked with these high major guys at hoop groups and stuff. So he knows what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
He's coaches the exact same style as Pitino, and that's why I was so goddamn scared of this man. This is a game. I'm telling you, Seton Hall is going to keep this within 10 points by halftime, and then St. John's is going to win by 30.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Especially the way St. John's shoots free throws, bro. I'm not mad at that.
Some news report's going to come out saying like, oh, Pitino lit into the team because none of the guys were taking it serious and they were like goofing off and stuff in the first half. Or they were goofing off and they missed curfew and stuff. And then they like come out, win by like 50, go up by like 50 at the end of the first half and then just stop playing.
Right.
It's like, okay, coach isn't mad at us anymore. I don't see. I'm trying to see a first half line. I can't find one. but if it's above 10, I think I would take it. I might not, just because I think my personal philosophy this year has just been I'm not touching the Big East. But yeah, if it's available, it might be hard not to take it. Is that kind of where you're at with this?
Yeah, man. I mean, the spread's just too big for me in this time of the season. If this was a couple weeks ago, I probably would like St. John's, but right now I'm just gonna stay away because I mean, what is this? 20 and a half points?
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to get a dub, get through the day. Seton Hall's like, let's try to play with some pride. Let's try to get it like, let's fight through it. So maybe the first half makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting at, where I'm just like, that'd be my only play on this. Yeah, I think that'll be it for us. You got any other mid-major, any of the schools on the West Coast you want to shout out the
No,
plays?
just you know me, just LIU, baby. That's it. On the road. I don't know if the line is out yet. Had a great promo last week.
LIU, Fairleigh Dickinson's favored by 2.
I have 3.5 for LIU. You know what that means? Fire the cannons. I don't even know what the hell Fairleigh Dickerson. We call him, what is it? Fairleigh Dickerson. Yeah. What is their mascot, man? For we got to go mascot plays on this one.
Yeah. What is their mascot? I think it's like a stallion or something like that.
Oh, it's a knight. The Fairleigh Dickinson Knights. Well, last time I checked, just like last week against a dolphin, you drop a knight in the ocean, a great white shark shows up. Who's winning that battle? Once again, it's simple math. Sharks win. Sharks cover. Give me the Sharks. What is this? You said, what was the spread? You said 2.5?
2. I have it projected at 2.5. Line is actually at 1.
All right, responsible betting tool here. Stay away from this game, guys. LIU's on the road. I'm not here to force plays as much as I love LIU. LIU caught them at home. LIU is probably they are sitting in the. Let's go to this NEC real quick. LIU has locked in the second spot in the NEC. They don't have much to play for. This is the last game of the season for them. If Fairleigh Dickerson wins, they move above Mercyhurst, who got a win over Chicago State earlier this week. But I got to stick to the shtick. So give me the LIU Sharks plus 1.5. Rod, my boy Rod brings it home. They've already solidified second place.
I got.
They're gonna win the NEC tournament, anyways.
I got 2 that I'm putting in literally as of now. Like, I looked back at it and I was like, I kind of like that spot.
Yeah.
Actually, 1. I lied. I want to see how the line moves on the other. We said the other day, St. Thomas owes me one after that horrendous Oral Roberts game.
Yeah.
And I don't even know the name of their conference. What is it?
The Tommies?
Yeah, the conference there.
Tommy's playing.
It's not the Southland, right? No.
No. Not Horizon. Jeez, wow.
Yeah, right. Like it's.
Am I that lit right now? Jeez, they play in the Summit League.
That's what it is. Summit. Yeah. So this is what the Summit looks like right now. So St. Thomas plays Kansas City, and if they win, they can pretty much all but for sure lock up their spot. South Dakota plays North Dakota. Those two teams can't move. South Dakota State, if they beat Denver and Minnesota wins, or not Minnesota, what, bro? I'm still fucking tired. Let me double check because I looked this up the other day. I want to make sure I have the right info.
No. Denver is playing South Dakota State. You're right.
Yeah. So if South Dakota State wins, they will take over the 2 seed. Even if St. Thomas wins, they will take over the 2 seed. And then the last game tomorrow, Omaha plays Oral Roberts, where if I remember right, don't quote me on it yet.
Oral Roberts is so bad.
If Omaha loses and South Dakota State loses, St. Thomas will take over first place.
Okay. I like that.
So your top 3 teams all need wins, all need big wins. St. Thomas favored by 9. I have them at 11. Nebraska favored by 10. I have them at 13. And then South Dakota State is favored by 8. But I have them at 6. So I think I might lay it with Nebraska Omaha. The only thing that wants me to stop that is Oral Roberts has been a really sneaky cover. Especially when down double digits. But I think I gotta lay it with St. Thomas there.
I love the Tommies, man.
You're playing a bad team. You desperately need a win. You're only favored by 9. And you're playing a team that has nothing left to play for, to where the point you could just start chucking up shots and they'll just let it happen.
Right. I love the Tommies, man. Anytime I can bet on the Tommies, I'll hop on it. Against Kansas City, yeah, give me the Tommies. Nebraska, the Omaha game is tough because Oral Roberts is not good.
Yeah, but they've been every time like it feels like a spot where they're going to get blown out. They've kept it close. I mean, think about when they played St. Thomas. Everyone and their mother was on St. Thomas, and they won.
Right.
So I think I'm hammering St. Thomas right here just because their conference is all deciding on if South Dakota State and Nebraska play the 3:00 or 2:00 game, St. Thomas plays at 8. So if South Dakota State does lose, then they know they're playing for the 2 seed.
And Denver's at home. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
actually,
at Denver.
This is a scenario where you wait to see how that South Dakota State game goes. If Denver wins, yeah, fire the cannons on St. Thomas.
Yeah, I'm hammering it. I might put like half a unit on it now. And if South Dakota State loses, I'm putting an extra unit and a half on it, make it 2 unit.
Yeah.
I think it's the best way to play it. But that'll be it for us tonight. We had a little short staff due to other some like personal issues from people being out of town. Don's doing some mafia business out in Pittsburgh. He's trying to get Bob Nutting to spend money.
Yeah,
Thank you guys all for tuning in and watching. Tomorrow, Moneyline Go is running our first the first leg of our recurring, or I guess not legs either, but the first week of our recurring Saturday college sports giveaway contest, the dog of the day. Something we ran during the college football season for fun. We always picked an underdog. If you pick the highest odds underdog to win straight up, and they win, you'll get a $25 Venmo from one of us at the Moneyline Go headquarters. All you have to do to enter is follow us on Twitter, repost the post, and comment who you think is going to be the biggest underdog to win that week. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys check out the College Juice Pod. Every Saturday morning goes live so you could get your best insight before the games. Steve, any other final words?
No, let's have a great Saturday. Let's get ready for the madness that's about to just envelop all of us. Get your brackets ready. I'm looking forward to doing the live streams when we set that up for March Madness. And yeah, man, let's have a great Saturday. Let's all win. F the books.
I really want to do that one time with you, and like right as you start talking, hit end stream. Just for fun, be like, yep.
just hit the outro on me.
Yeah, make sure you guys check us out on Tuesday night as we go over everything Major League Baseball. Also, we might do a Spaces or another live stream later in this week going over conference tournament futures, how to bet the opening rounds of conference tournament and early March Madness future locks. Thank you guys all for tuning in once again, and let's go make some money.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.